What's up everybody, it's Seyer.X coming to you with my first build video for my Magicka Sorcerer for the Dark Brotherhood patch. There's been a lot of changes in this patch, namely the shield nerf, which has changed gameplay for a lot of sorcerers and a lot of people who use shields and rely on them to defend. But what I did was I went ahead and made some changes using the builds that I have for my Magicka Nightblade and my Magicka Templar in order to make it so that I'm not as reliant on shields. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. I'll make this quick. My stat sheets: Max Magicka 40k, recovery is at 1352, just flat unbuffed. Max health is at 25k. Max stamina is at 14.3. Spell damage is at 3305 with 44% crit. And this is all unbuffed. I think we do have Emp in this campaign that I'm in, which, you know, the numbers would be a little bit lower, but, you know, that is what they are here. We'll go over the gear. So I'm running 5 pieces Julianos, 2 swords, 1 sharpen, 1 Nirnhone. I am also running Lich set. So I do have 4 pieces body, 1 resto staff on the back bar. And then I have 3 pieces of Julianos on body. The 3 pieces Julianos are impen, that way you have some critical resistance when you're running around getting hit by people bashing you with incapacitating strikes, which seems to be the meta this patch. The Lich set comes with infused traits, and so that will increase your max magicka quite a bit. And the head is divines. If I had any control over it, it'd all be divines, or all impen, just to give you that more crit resistance. For the jewelry, I have the willpower arcane with spell damage enchants on those. Going over the skills, I have Ferocious Curse, Crystal Frags, Streak, Structured Entropy, Endless Fury, and Ice Comet. This build hits really hard. So unbuffed, unprocced, Crystal Frags alone hits just under 15k, which fucking hurts. It really does. I've seen some hit for the full 14k, I've seen them hit for 18k, procced. The largest frag I've ever hit is 24k. It was on a PvE player, but you know, it's still 24k and it's still nice to see on screen. Ferocious Curse tooltip is at 13k, which I have seen it hit for 13k. Pretty cool stuff. Streak I also use very offensively. It does give a nice stun if you don't hit with a frag. If they dodge roll or somehow dodge your frag, you can always streak through your opponent to get that stun in, turn around, hit him with the curse. Structured Entropy I weave in almost every single attack I use, just to give it that extra 20% bonus damage from the Might of the Guild passive, which is in the Mage's Guild. I'll just show you. Casting a Mage's Guild ability grants you Empower, increasing the damage of your next attack by 20% as long as it's activated within 5 seconds. If you do not have Mage's Guild maxed out and you are a sorcerer, you are wrong. You need to get that maxed out because it will greatly improve your performance in this game, in all aspects, PvE and PvP. On my back bar, the resto staff bar, I'm only running really 1 shield, 2 shields, including Healing Ward. Harness Magicka is my main shield that I only use defensively when I'm on the defense. I won't buff up with shields unless I'm going to a fight where there's a 1vx situation, or there's more than one person. But I typically won't keep Harness Magicka up because it only lasts 6 seconds and the cost of 3.3k Magicka is quite a lot. Mutagen is my other skill. I do keep Mutagen up every 20 seconds. I will recast the sucker because those ticks are very beneficial. It also gives you additional healing when you fall below 20%. So if you come into execute range and this thing ticks, you'll get a nice heal for about almost 5.5 health. Running Julianos gives me that 44% crit, which will increase the chance of that 5.5 heal to be 8k, which is amazing when you're in execute. Healing Ward, of course, it's also used defensively. If I know I'm going to be taking damage, I'll toss up Healing Ward, I'll toss up Harness Magicka, and I'll throw up Mutagen. Boundless Storm, it is your way to add resistance to physical and spell damage. Major Resolve and Major Ward are very necessary, especially since you are not reliant on your 3 shields staying up for 30 seconds anymore. I run Defensive Rune as my 5th skill on this bar. It has saved me a number of times, specifically from Incapacitating Strike and the Templars spamming Radiant Oppression. If you are getting hit with Radiant Oppression from full health, which is the meta right now, hit up Defensive Rune. It will stun the Templar that's attacking you and keep them from executing you from fucking full health when other people are hitting you. I'm also running Energy Overload on this bar. I'm really not using it at all. I'll use it in, a last bit effort to kill somebody, because my ultimate that I use is Ice Comet because it hits so hard. 19.2k base damage. If you empower that, 20% additional damage on top of that is incredible. But I do keep it on there just, in case I have a little bit of ulti, not enough to finish with Meteor. I'll throw up Energy Overload and finish off an opponent pretty quickly. Champion points. So I did quite a bit of changes to my champion point setup. I spent a lot of gold respecking it, changing it over and over and over just to see what I'm comfortable with. This is what works best for me. Of course, change it as you feel comfortable and how it goes with your playstyle. Starting off with Magician, I have 32 points in here just to get it to the 8% reduced Magicka cost. When I PvE, I do change this up and go 100 points into Magician. But for PvP, anything over that 8%, the diminishing returns is just too great to waste any more points in. You could use it on something much more important. Like Recovery. I have 90 points into Arcanist. This beefs up the Lich proc. So I'm not running high regen flats. I have only 1300. But I'll show you when Lich procs how much I have, and this stacks with that proc. So it's very important to make sure you have a good amount of recovery as a Sorc in this patch. I have 45 points into Tumbling. I find myself breaking CCs so often, and being a Magicka user, you don't have a lot of stamina, so the more you can reduce that cost, the more chances you have to get away and not die as quickly. In the Apprentice tree, I go 90 into Elemental Expert. You don't need the full 100, it's not really necessary. The 23.2% increased damage is pretty good, so you don't really have to go full in 100 points into this. It could be used in Spell Erosion, which I have 50 points, increases spell penetration by 2807. Pairing that with the Juliana sword, I could make the second sword sharpened as well, but I'm being really cheap right now and I don't want to spend the gold on the extra materials. 50 points is pretty good. That is quite a bit of spell pen, and that will go through a good amount of resistance that your opponents have. Elfborn, I do run 27 points into that to give me the flat 10% additional bonus damage to spell criticals. I crit a lot, and 10% increased damage is nice paired up with the spell penetration that I run. So this works very well for me. I don't have any other points in the mage. They all can go in here, any combination you like, but this is my preferred way to set up my CP. For the red tree, I go 35 into resistant. 12% is a good number to have to decrease the amount of damage you take from critical hits. Nightblades are everywhere right now. Standblades, I feel like everybody made a Standblade before this patch and has been running around stealth and just taking people out with incapacitating strikes, surprise attack combos. 12% reduced damage will give you a chance to get away from that and not die from 2 hits. So that's why I run 35 there. 60 into Hardy, 30 into Elemental Defender, 7 into Thick Skinned. The 7 is just there because I had the 7 points to put them somewhere. And that does help against the Dragonites with all of the poisons that they're running this patch. I did go 60 into Hardy because of the number of Standblades that I've encountered in Cyrodiil. Usually I go 50-50 between these two, but I feel like I'm able to resist more physical damage by going heavier into Hardy. 35 points into Bastion, just the 35. Again, I'm not relying on shields at all. They are defensive, but when I do go on the defense and I do start my shield stacking rotations, I do like them to be a little bit stronger than just the flat base protection that they provide you. So 12% is a good number to shoot for Bastion. Again, you can play with the numbers however you like to see how it works for you, but that's what works for me. Right now, I can go ahead and... How do I proc entropy? I want to show you what my skills, what my stats are fully buffed. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to go add Power Surge. Actually, no, you know what? I can go buy a potion real quick. That way I can show you what my stats are with my combat setup. If you don't run Entropy for some reason, and you don't run Surge for some reason, which you should, you could always run Alliance Spell Drought. They will give you the major sorcery that you need to get your numbers up. Real quick, we'll just go ahead and show you what my fully buffed stats are in Cyrodiil. So there we go, I got the 40k max Magicka. I'm at 3890 spell damage. 44% crit, 1541 recovery with the potion popped. Let's go ahead and spam some shields so I can get the Lich to proc for you so you can see what that number looks like. And these stats do increase throughout the time that I spend in Cyrodiil because of continuous assault. So there you go, 3590 is my Magicka recovery when the Lich procs, and that procs once a minute. I know it's expensive, and I know it's really hard to get and rare to have, but it's so useful to have, especially in this patch, with the amount of Magicka recovery you're going to need to 1vx, 1v1, duel, play in groups, etc. It's such a versatile set. For those of you who haven't seen the bonuses, so 2-piece adds Magicka recovery, 3-piece adds max, 4-piece adds Magicka recovery, and the 5th piece, again, once per minute, when you're below 33%, you gain 1020 recovery for 20 seconds. And that stacks with your racial passes, that stacks with any potions you might have, and that stacks with continuous attack. So the more of the recovery percentages you can stack, the better proc you're going to get from the Lich set. Enchants. This patch, they did give a buff to the weapon damage enchant, so I am running on both swords the weapon damage enchant, which increases spell damage by 320 for 5 seconds. Yeah, it's the purple glyph. I'm too cheap to get Goudas for these, since I'm still playing with it, testing it out. I might switch one. I might go with... I'm not even sure what I would go with, because I never even swing my swords, but every once in a while I will try to get a hit-in with my swords if an enemy comes in close, like those pesky stand blades, and that will make my damage hit that much harder. On Dylora's staff, I just have the Absorb Magicka enchantment. I don't use it often. I don't need a lot of recovery, but I just have it on there because I had the glyph for it. So that's it. I think I covered everything. I can go over a couple passives real quick again. A lot of people don't go over passives in their videos, but I'll go through quickly. For Dark Magic, I picked up all the passives. They're all incredibly useful. Either they reduce the cost or they increase critical damage to your group members. For Daedric Summoning, I only picked up the middle two, Power Stone and Daedric Protection. I don't use pets. I don't find pets useful at all, and I don't think any other Sorc that plays the game finds them useful. So unless you do play pets, you don't need Rebate or Expert Summoner. For Storm Calling, I do have all of those passives. They are all incredibly useful. Specifically Implosion and Expert Mage. Expert Mage increases your spell damage by 2% for every sorcerer ability you have slotted. I run all sorcerer abilities except for 2, which are Mage's Guild abilities, and those give you a passive increase to your Magicka and recovery. So that's why I have those 2 on there. Implosion, because I like to hit Endless Fury as often as I can when an enemy is close to 50%, because I know it'll put them over the edge. That increases the chances of proccing Disintegrate on enemies. So that's very useful to run around with, especially with the splash damage from Endless Fury. If there's a small group of enemies that are bundled up together and you're hitting Endless Fury and the splash damage hits anybody else that's below 15%, it'll instantly kill them. So it's definitely useful to have. Dual wield, I do dual wield for the Twin Blade and Blunt passive. Because I'm having 2 swords, it increases my damage done by 2.5%. Times 2, that's 5% increased damage. It's super useful. I don't run a staff in PvP. I have tried it. I tried it this patch and I wasn't able to find a build that I liked, so that's why I go with those passives. For the Resto staff, of course, Resto Expert and Resto Master, those are 2 really good passives to have. I don't stay on my Resto bar often, so I don't find much benefit from the others. The Major Mending, I mean, I don't do heavy attacks from Resto, but it would be good if you didn't have the Lich set and if you were running around having trouble with recovery. I think this would help because you'd be using your Resto staff to recover Magicka, and that would give you the Major Mending passive. Mutagen. Again, the reason why I run Mutagen on my back part is because I run Mutagen on all my other Magicka characters. It's the only way that you can really get a heal. It is the basically a Magicka version of Vigor, and it also, if you're around other people and they get Mutagen cast on them, you're going to gain ultimate from them. This build does suffer from ultimate generation because you're not using a staff to light attack and gain ultimate back. So I do cast Mutagen often, especially when there's other people around me, because you do get ultimate generation back from that. And I have been able to drop 4, 5, 6 meteors in a single skirmish, just because of the amount of ultimate I get back from healing other people. That's something you should consider heavily. Light armor, harness Magicka. I did try the dampen magic morph of that. I really didn't like it. It does give you a little bit of a bigger shield. Honestly, the difference I saw was 2k, maybe more. It just didn't feel like it was enough without getting back that Magicka. So that's why I run Harness Magicka. All those passives in light armor are amazing as well. For heavy armor, since I am running 5-1-1, 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy, I did put 2 into Juggernaut to give me the extra health percentage. It's useful. I like it. You don't have to use it if you don't have the skill points, but I think it's worth it if you run 5-1-1. And the whole reason for the 5-1-1 again is for the Undaunted passive, Undaunted Metal, which gives you 6% increased stats if you have each set of armor equipped. Mage's Guild, I do have all of those passives as well. I find benefit in all of them, whether it's reducing the cost of the Mage's Guild abilities. Sadly, this doesn't decrease the cost of the ultimate. I wish it did, but it doesn't. And then increasing the duration. So Structured Entropy, it does return health to you. It's not a lot, but it is some, and anything is better than nothing. So it's definitely worth using. It also has that dot of 10k damage, which is excellent. And then Assault and Support, I do have the Assault passives. I have Proxy Debt, but that is only for group play. If I am in a small group or a ball group, what I will do is, instead of Defensive Rune, I'll run Proxy Debt. And I'll charge in with my group and hopefully kill somebody with Proxy Debt. It doesn't do much damage this patch, which is good and bad at the same time, but it is what it is. And Support, I don't find myself really using any of the support skills, so the passives aren't really that great. I think I accidentally put one in here, but I should put Combat Medic actually. Battle Resurrection is extremely important. It reduces the time by 30% to resurrect another player. That helps a lot. That helps when you are fighting other people, when you're not near a keep, when the keep is under siege, or if your forward camp is being burnt down. Definitely a must. This character is also High Elf. It is the way to go for sorcerers. There are Bretons out there that are really good as well. There are Dark Elves that are really good as well. I just find that the passives for High Elves make this build incredibly strong. So again, that is my character. That's my Magicka Sorcerer. He's a beast. He hits hard. You'll often see me in Cyrodiil running around by myself. It's what I like to do. Otherwise, I'll be with a couple other people at most. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a line, leave a comment, etc., etc. Thanks for watching.